You're Ghost 5. The Admiral's voice cracked like a whip across the silent hangar. His eyes widened, face draining of color, as if he'd just seen a ghost from a war long buried. The young sailors nearby froze mid-step, staring between the grizzled single dad in worn jeans and the four-star admiral who suddenly looked haunted. What could make a man of such rank, such steel, tremble? The story begins 2 days earlier, in a small coastal town where Jack Turner, a single father, former Navy Special Operations pilot, was trying to fix his old pickup truck. Life after the service hadn't been kind. His wife had passed during his last deployment, and raising his 10-year-old daughter, Emily, became his entire world. Between odd mechanic jobs, helping neighbors, and making sure Emily never went to bed hungry, Jack carried his burdens quietly. He didn't talk about the past. He didn't talk about Ghost 5. Emily had begged him to come to the Navy Open Day, just for fun, Dad. She'd said, eyes shining, at the local base. It was her dream to see real ships, real planes. Jack smiled and agreed, though stepping back onto a Navy deck made his heart tighten. The smell of saltwater, the sound of boots on steel, it was the rhythm of a life he'd left behind. When they arrived, the base buzzed with energy. Veterans mingled with recruits, kids climbed on static displays, and somewhere in the distance, a military band played, Anchors Aweigh. Jack stood quietly beside his daughter as a group of officers passed, saluting sharply. One of them stopped, an older man with ribbons stretching across his chest. Admiral Richard Lawson. Afternoon, sir, the Admiral greeted politely, nodding to Emily. Then his gaze landed on Jack. His expression shifted slightly, curiosity flickering. You served, didn't you? Jack hesitated. A lifetime ago. The Admiral smiled. What unit? Jack looked down, thumb tracing a worn patch on his jacket, a ghost emblem, faded but unmistakable. The Admiral's smile faltered. Wait, ghost unit. Which bird? Jack exhaled slowly, like releasing a secret he never wanted to speak again. Ghost 5. The silence hit like a detonation. The Admiral's color drained, his jaw slackened, and for a moment, even the seagulls seemed to stop calling. He took a step closer, whispering, no, it can't be. Ghost 5 was gone. Jack's eyes softened with memory, pain buried deep but never gone. Not all of us. The Admiral motioned for him to follow to a quiet corner of the hangar. Emily, curious, trailed behind. And there, amid the roar of jet engines and the scent of hydraulic oil, the past came roaring back. Years ago, during a covert rescue mission in the Pacific, Ghost Squadron, a team of elite Navy pilots, had been sent to extract trapped operatives behind enemy lines. The mission was classified, impossible, and deadly. Ghost 1 through 4 never made it back. Ghost 5, Jack Turner, disobeyed direct orders, flew back into enemy territory, and saved 7 men. The Navy had recorded him as missing in action when his jet went down in flames. No one knew he survived. Admiral Lawson was the commanding officer who had ordered that mission. And for 20 years, he'd carried the guilt of sending Ghost Squadron to their deaths. Seeing Jack standing before him now, alive, was like watching a ghost return to forgive the living. Lawson's voice trembled. You were my man. You weren't supposed to come home. Jack smiled faintly. Neither were any of us. They stood in silence, 2 men bound by duty and regret. Then Emily tugged her dad's sleeve. Dad, you were a hero. She whispered. Jack kneeled, meeting her eyes. No, sweetheart. The real heroes never came home. The Admiral blinked away tears. Your father saved lives, young lady. Including mine. The world should know who Ghost 5 really is. But Jack shook his head. Let the ghosts rest. I'm just a dad now. Lawson looked at him long and hard, then placed a hand on his shoulder. You might have left the service, Turner, but your story isn't over. The men you saved, their families still ask what happened. Maybe it's time they had their peace. Over the next few weeks, word quietly spread through Navy circles. Letters began arriving at Jack's doorstep, from the sons and daughters of the men he'd rescued. One by one, they came to thank him. Some cried. Some just stood silently beside him at the memorial wall where the Ghost Squadron names were etched in steel. At the final ceremony, as the flag was raised and the names of the fallen echoed across the harbor, Admiral Lawson took the podium. He cleared his throat, voice trembling slightly. Today, we honor the courage of the Ghost Squadron, and the man who carried their memory alone for decades. Call sign, Ghost 5. The crowd turned as Jack stepped forward, Emily's small hand clutching his. The applause wasn't thunderous, it was reverent. Later that evening, standing by the water, Lawson approached him quietly. I wish I'd never given that order. Jack nodded. If you hadn't, those men would have died anyway. I made peace with it. You should too. The Admiral looked out over the ocean, eyes wet. When I heard, Ghost 5, I saw every mistake I ever made. But now, I see redemption. Jack smiled faintly, lifting Emily into his arms. Redemption's a choice, sir. We all get one, if we're brave enough to take it. As the sun set behind them, casting gold over the waves, the Admiral saluted him one last time, not as a superior, but as a man honoring another. And when Jack walked away, his daughter on his shoulder and peace in his heart, he knew the ghosts of the past had finally been set free.